So welcome to another Thursday on the Pagan Perspective. Since it's so late in the day, it's been really hard to get the time. It's just been a busy day. My kitchen is the only place with enough light to actually film. So welcome to my kitchen. This week we have been talking about entities. And I haven't gotten a chance to watch the other hosts' videos. It looked like they were all subs this week, actually. So I do apologize if I'm repeating anything that has already been said. But I normally read the topic. This time it's quite a long topic, so I'm going to post it below. And there's some very specific elements to this topic, very specific to the situation that this individual is experiencing. And I'm going to speak a little bit more generally than the actual exact elements which this individual talks about. Their username is Shibby. I'm not sure if that's male or female, so I'm just going to use the kind of they neutral. Basically, they are talking about that they live in a house that they believe is magical, that there are entities there, and particularly a malevolent, not so nice entity. They talk about the roommates seem to also believe this or share this experience, and the person who lived in the house before. So to talk about, the topic actually very appropriate for coming up at the end of October to talk about haunted houses. And I think to talk about that, it's really important to talk about, well, what are these things? What are entities? How do we see them? I'm going to talk about what I think about them, and remember, this is just a guess. I'm not saying this is how the world works or anything like that, but my take on entities. My take on them is that they're how we relate to something. It's our experience of a relationship to something, particular strong emotional attachments or feelings that we have towards a location, towards a situation, towards people. It has to do with the connections, and it's how our minds are able to communicate to us without words the way we're communicating right now, because our mind doesn't always communicate that way. Our mind communicates different parts of our mind with symbols and metaphor and story. And so I think that sometimes when we are experiencing something that really seems like it's this other, that it's not necessarily this other, it's really our relationship with something. And sometimes that isn't just on an individual level, sometimes that's on a very large level. Whole cultures have relationships with things that are perceived as beings, be those gods or spirits or certain locations. There's something that kind of speaks to us, and whether that is something innate to humans or it has to do with our culture, it seems like we have some sort of association. So I think that entities or haunted houses, beings like that, are not actually separate from us. I think they are us and our relationship with the world, and it's how our mind is communicating. So the individual spoke about using a banishing potion, which is a type of ritual, and I think that that's a great, the approach of ritual is a great way to handle it, because it's speaking the same language that our minds are speaking. Our mind is speaking in symbols, and for me that's what ritual really is about coming up with a language that I can actually speak to my unconscious or my deeper part of me that isn't quite so logical and analytical and language based, but is more about these feelings and symbols and that sort of thing. So ritual, I think, is a great approach. But fundamentally, I think that if you don't believe that the ritual will or can work, then it can't. I think that placebo, in a very positive way, not using that in a negative way at all, but has a very strong impact on that. From the description that this particular viewer gave, it seems like everybody involved has some sort of relationship with this. So it's not just about the individual's relationship with this house, it's the individual's relationship with the previous occupant of the house. There is a relationship there, there's a relationship with the people, the roommates, the other people living in the house. And so it's all tied up with not just that one individual's relationship to the house, but all of their relationship to the house and their relationships with each other and how they see the world. So if, for instance, they talk about a thumb getting cut and there being blood, if the blood has a strong and powerful meaning to you and to those involved, then of course that's going to affect how you're experiencing the situation. It's not a situation which I have been in before. I mean, when I move into a new space, I usually do smudge it and have kind of a welcoming ritual, out with the old and with our energy, that sort of thing. But it seems like if there's so many people involved, it's something that would need to be addressed on that level of community. The previous tenant, just from the little bit that this person said, sounds like maybe not the greatest person to be around. One might want to look at the relationship that they have with somebody who's saying that they made a deal with a demon-like creature, is what it was sounding like. Maybe it doesn't seem like the type of person that you really want to have a personal relationship with, and perhaps working on letting that relationship go might address the relationship that you'd have with the house. Another note, just to put it in there, is sometimes things like that are exciting, right? And so it's really easy to build up all of this excitement around it. Whether it really is a positive or negative thing in your life, there's energy around it, it's invigorating. So being conscious and aware of that might be very important, because that energizing bit of it can really make it more powerful. So yeah, that is really what I've got to say on this. I hope that's helpful. I know everybody has a different take on what entities, spirits, all of those things are. That's my take, and I hope this was helpful somehow. So you guys have a great week, and until next time.